It's time for the Bird Brains. News and notes about the Baltimore Orioles and their minor league affiliates. With our own Bird Brain hosts, Dave Biesek and Jeff Baker. Trade me. Buckle up, sit back, and enjoy. You never know what's coming with the Bird Brains. I don't think we'd get much for a trade, would we?
No. They probably get, we're the proverbial bucket of balls.
That's right.
I'll try.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
We'll just be the throw-in. Wow, we're in the middle of a big change going on here with the team.
Yeah, right now.
So many trades happening.
As we record this, it's trade deadline day.
Right.
We're about an hour and a half away from the actual deadline, and it was just announced that Cedric Mullins is leaving Birdland.
Yep.
Headed to New York. And
said it was a good run. Said he's a loved player, but it's time to do it.
Right. It's unfortunate that but it is a business, and I hearken back to the Trey Mancini deal.
Yeah.
It was a similar kind of parting. People loved Trey, and same thing here with Cedric.
And while we're talking about Cedric, let's just celebrate that catch.
Wow. He had a great series.
We're going to talk about Ramon here in a minute too.
Right.
But it's interesting; those two guys go out on something that you can really remember positively. But
right.
let's talk about Cedric. That catch and other catches that he's made. That's really where I know he has some pop in his bat. I know that, but his defense with a glove.
Yeah,
is really good when he's able to get to the ball.
As an outfielder on the move, he makes some really nice plays.
Right.
I mean, he tracks balls.
He's not rated real high. We talked about that as an outfielder, but man, he lays all out for it, doesn't he?
He does, and the way he handles the fence, especially in Camden Yards, he just has a knack for timing things well and all that. So
did you watch the replay? How he did that?
Yeah, sure. And he just spiked the padding and pulled himself up with his leg.
Yeah,
and it makes perfect sense.
And right before he got to the warning track, he took the look back at the fence,
right,
to see where he was,
right.
And he knew how many steps he had until he could use the fence as a prop, to get up high. And he was fully extended.
It was textbook. Yeah.
So Cedric is now a Met,
right?
And in return, Baltimore gets 3 prospects.
They did
for him.
They did, and we're gonna go down this road a little bit, but right now at the trade deadline, it appears to me that, and we'll see how this works out, but I don't know that we're really fleecing anybody here. Getting a lot of really high-level talent.
No, we're going after depth.
Yeah.
That's what
it appears.
Seems like the market is for these guys.
Right. So there were 3 guys that have quickly been named. Ramon Gomez, Anthony Nunez, and Chandler Marsh were the 3 names thrown out very quickly here on the Major League Baseball Network as we scan that in the man cave while we're recording here.
Right.
But those were the 3 names that came up with the Cedric Mullins
So
deal.
all 3 of them, to a degree, are pitchers because there's 2 of them that are indeed right-handed pitchers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Gomez and Marsh.
Right.
And Nunez is an interesting one.
Right.
He's a right-handed pitcher /
first baseman.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
And he's at the AA level right now. So
could it be another Ohtani in the making?
The interesting thing to me, and I don't know we'll see how this fleshes out, but Nunez is ranked 13th in a prospect perspective within the Mets organization. So that's not terrible. That's pretty good. And
he's at AA now.
Yeah, he's at AA now.
The other guys are in A ball.
Right. So we'll see. You of course mentioned that the Ramon Urias also was traded
just recently,
late last night to the Astros. I didn't feel like it didn't look to me like they got much for him, but we'll get to that. Before we go too deep into that,
sure.
I wanted to touch on and kind of circle back to something that we talked about last week, because we, in essence, solicited a comment from our faithful listener, Daniel.
Daniel, yes.
Yeah.
Thank you for your input.
Who we knew had been to the Yankees spring training facility to see a Tampa Ray game. And he had a couple of observations, which we solicited. And again, if you want to participate in the program like Daniel, bbbaseball522@gmail.com is how you get a hold of us. And that's what Daniel did. And we were talking about how it would feel to play a major league game in that ballpark. And since Daniel was there, he said it definitely feels like a minor league park. He said it was crowded and people were definitely Rays fans and they were buying a lot of merchandise.
Okay.
But he did say that the crowd, he said it was as loud as 10,000 people can get, right, kind of thing. So he didn't really necessarily think that it was necessarily a good atmosphere for a major league game. He said it was what it was, kind of. And he must have interviewed some family and locals down there, and their opinion was that there is a substantial fan base for the Rays, but nobody wants to go to the Trop. He said, quote unquote, it's a dump. There was next to no public transportation to get you there, and the bridges become choke points, so people just don't go to games. And
so you've heard a lot. And once again, this is an Orioles show, it's not a Rays show. But I've heard a lot that one of the reasons why Tampa doesn't draw well is because there's so many transplants down there, and they're not Tampa fans. Right. They're Yankees fans. They're they're Cardinals fans, and all that. And that's possible. But what he's saying, Daniel, it seems like he believes there are Tampa Ray fans down there.
They seem to be buying the merch.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah. Transplants sometimes take on the team of wherever they're at. So I don't know. We'll see how it works out.
I wonder if there are a lot of Orioles fans down there for that game, for that series.
He didn't mention that per se, but we know there was.
Yeah, you would think with Sarasota.
Because remember the little kid with the cow
that
outfit
was great.
on?
That was great.
That was there. And I mean that whole thing was really cool, the interaction.
He got cool. 2 games out of that.
He did. 2 different series.
2 different series. They found him again.
Yeah, it's great. I love that kind of stuff. But anyway, we thank Daniel for his input to the show. And again, bbbaseball522@gmail.com is your ticket into the inner sanctum.
I still would have to think that 10,000 fans in a stadium that seats 10,000 would be better than 10,000 fans in a stadium that seats 40,000.
Oh, I would think.
I mean, it's got to feel louder. Yeah. It's got to feel better.
Yeah. So, I mean, the Orioles coming into this trade deadline, they went 5-2 this week, including a doubleheader sweep
of the Blue Jays, of the first place team. Exactly. They won 3 of 4. By the way, way to go, Birds. That's great. But it was so bittersweet.
So frustrating.
It's bittersweet because you knew what was coming down the road, that this wasn't going to change anything for them. It's just that it shows that they're still playing hard.
Well, they are. But it also shows you that this team, as constructed, could perform.
Yeah.
I mean, it has that potential. And the fact that they didn't for so long this year is just beyond frustrating.
And I love the fact they won an 18-2 game in the first game, and then they came back and they won a 3-2 game.
Yeah,
or was it 3-2?
Right,
I believe in the second. So they won both. They won both ways. Well, they have good pitching both games. Right.
Yeah. It just frustrates.
That's what you told me.
Oh,
so frustrating.
Yeah, because you see, they can actually bludgeon people when they get everything cooking, and. So, another noteworthy thing against the Blue Jays, Gunnar went 10 for 25.
He's looking good.
With a 1.123 OPS. Rutschman returned from an oblique strain, 4 for 14 with 3 doubles. Yeah. Westy capped a hot July. He had a 927 OPS with a homestand on which he went 11 for 29. Wow. And had a pair of home runs.
And what about Tyler O'Neill?
O'Neill homered in 4 consecutive games. And he finished the homestand with an OPS of 1.676.
I think he's deserving of something.
You think?
I do. I think Tyler O'Neill.
Okay.
I think Tyler gets the bird of prey for this week.
Okay.
Yeah. Tyler O'Neill, for your performance, you are granted the Bird of Prey Award for this week. 4 home runs in 5 games.
I'd love to make that a habit.
Oh, wow.
Being able to give that to him because they have
Just
some money.
figure out a way to stay healthy.
Yeah,
too.
they have a good bit of money contractually tied up in him.
Yeah. He could, if he's healthy, he could almost be that guy that I've harped on.
Really?
For the
You think?
Well,
I don't know.
he certainly can be a major piece.
Yeah,
a major piece in that line.
I heard an interview with him after one of the games where he was talking about how he was working on getting his swing on the right plane and getting it in that slot, and he was really glad that a lot of that work looks like it's starting to pay off. So that's great, and I'm glad. I really am glad for him and the team because Mike Elias committed a lot of resources to him.
$16.5 million for the next 2 years.
Yeah. So, and there you go. And Colton Cowser, he got back into the groove a little bit. He had a home run this week and an 836 OPS. I'd like to see a little more out of him.
We need a little more production out of him.
Right, but I think the talent's there. I think he's going to be a good major leaguer.
I agree.
So that was encouraging, and maybe the most encouraging thing that we've had in a long time come out of this organization. Kyle Bradish completed his second rehab start with Double-A Chesapeake, pitching 3 2/3 scoreless innings, allowing only 1 hit and no walks and no runs.
Come on back, Kyle. We need you, buddy.
Come on down.
Yep, we need you, man.
Yeah, and of course his first rehab start was also considered to be pretty successful, and so it could now be possible, based upon how this is going with no setbacks, that we actually see him back on the mound in Baltimore before the end of August.
Yes,
that's what they're saying. So we shall see, and to me, that's as good a news as we've had.
Not knowing what's going to happen with Eflin, we don't know if he's going to be traded or not. So, but if you get Bradish back, and I know he's not going to be full strength. There's no way he'll be full strength. But if looking ahead, whether that's the end of this year or the beginning of next, you think of Trevor Rogers and Bradish and Kramer, three guys there that form a good nucleus, I think, for a rotation.
Yeah, I mean, we will see, and I still contend that, and I think they know this, that they need to make a deal for a number 1 starter.
Absolutely.
I think
absolutely.
I think especially with the injury to Grayson Rodriguez, kind of taking him out of that light, at least for next year, probably. I think they'll do that. I would hope with this core group of players, and hopefully they can bring in some.
And hopefully you learn something from last year, where you didn't do that.
Right.
You have to approach this year, I would think, and go, we need to provide the team with that kind of ace.
So let's update everybody where we're at on trade deadline. One of the things they're going to have to do is reconstruct the bullpen, because
for sure
July 10th, of course, and we covered this, I think, last
Brian
week.
Baker.
Brian Baker was sent out to Tampa for the 37th overall pick in the draft, which they used for Slater DeBron.
Which is a
little sleigh.
Who's a little sleigh. High school outfielder.
Right, exactly. So then on the 25th, they made a deal with the Mets, and they agreed to send Gregory Soto in return for minor league righty Wellington Aracena and for Cameron Foster.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. And, when you look back at Soto, you think, his ERA while he was an Oriole was 4.33.
Really?
Yeah, not so good. Not so good for a reliever. Yeah. It doesn't make me sorry necessarily that they got rid of him, although you hate to get rid of lefties.
So he was a 1-year rental, really.
Yeah.
He was. It was almost a year to the day. Whenever he was sent back out.
Right. But we wanted Soto as a back-end bullpen guy. Mm-hmm. And when you're a back-end bullpen guy and you've got an ERA of 4.33, it's just too high. So to send him off to the Mets, hopefully he can have some success with the Mets and they can use him in the right places. And
I tell you what, if you're a hard-throwing lefty.
Oh, absolutely.
Which brings me back to knowing that they've got to reconstruct their bullpen. Cianel Perez, we could see him again here real soon.
Yes, because he's down there.
He's down in Norfolk.
I wouldn't be surprised for them to give him another shot.
No.
Right now would be a perfect time.
Yeah,
to
I
do
don't
that.
think he's had a good time in Norfolk. But.
So the ones they got for Soto, like you said, was Willington, Aracena, 20-year-old guy, low A prospect, who strikes out a lot of guys, but also walks a lot of guys, and that is kind of the theme for some of these pitchers.
That seems
because they're getting younger guys with live arms.
Yeah,
and oftentimes there's control problems that they will try to fix. But what, like you've said before, you can't teach a live arm. A live arm.
Yeah, I mean
you can't teach 100 hardly, really.
No.
With movement,
his walk rate in A ball is 13.2%. I mean that's high. So you're not really gonna. Yeah.
And Cameron Foster's 26 years old.
Yeah.
So he's an older player at Double A ball who is in his first year of being converted to a reliever. So he's been a starter. And he's in his first year of becoming a reliever.
But he's at Double A.
He's at Double A.
Yeah, he's a Double A guy, pitching to a 1.01 ERA.
That's great.
Yeah, 34% strikeout rate and a 5% walk.
Really
rate.
Good.
Yeah. So someone like that you might be able to see in Baltimore maybe next year, if not sooner. So we'll see. However, something to keep in mind. He will need to be protected in the Rule 5 draft this year, at the end of the year. So they'll have to find a 40-man roster spot for him or risk losing him. So I would suspect we'll see him next year if that's the case.
I would think so.
Yeah.
Then July 29th, we move on. The Orioles traded Sir Anthony Dominguez to the Blue Jays for Juron Watts-Brown.
23-year-old minor league right-handed.
And what's interesting about this, they traded him to the Blue Jays, and they traded him in between the first and second game with the Blue Jays.
Right.
So he pitched. Did he pitch in the first game? I can't remember. He pitched against them in the second game.
Yeah, he did.
So he wound up pitching
he
as
did
a
not
Blue.
Pitch in the first
he
game.
wound up pitching against the Orioles as a Blue Jay in the second game, and had a good inning against them.
I had a pet peeve about this because at that point in the series, the Orioles had really put the Blue Jays in a bind with their bullpen because they had short starts.
I know what you're going to say.
It's like, why wouldn't we just wait until at least after the doubleheader, if not after the series? Because you could have really abused them in the bullpen, but instead you gave him a fresh arm because we didn't use him. And I just thought the timing on that was maybe less than desirable.
Yeah, I got one of Jeff's texts with steam coming off of it. Oh, Baker's upset. Watch out.
Yeah, but Juron is a third-round pick out of 2023.
He's 23 years old.
Yeah, he went to Oklahoma State and spent the season in the rotation at High A and Double A.
He's been pitching at Double A level for Toronto.
And he ranked 14th among Jays prospects. So, that seems to be the going rate. Guys in that upper teen, maybe.
Yeah, and here you're getting a potential starter for trading basically a rental player.
Right.
That's a pretty good return.
That is.
When you look at that, you got a guy at Double A, which means that if he will flourish at Double A, you could see him next year.
Right.
If he does real well. Yeah. And so you've got Dominguez that you just traded away, but the Mets. Who do you go to? The Blue Jays.
Yeah.
They're getting him as a rental. We might get a guy that can pitch for us for a long time. That is the game right there.
That is.
That's
what it's about.
That is the game right there.
And then you have a controllable asset for the 6 years, basically after that. So look for a 2026 review or a 2026 potential debut.
Yeah.
For him.
The word I read about him was he has a projectable physical frame. Which means they believe that he's going to be a stronger guy. He has room to grow.
Okay.
And they're expecting him to throw a very live ball. A very live ball.
So late last night, as we touched on it earlier, we heard that Ramon Urias was being moved to the Astros.
For a guy with a great name or a different name.
Right. And now, and what made this interesting to me was that this was the second player in this series of moves that Mike Elias dealt that they had another year or so of team control.
Yes.
Because Brian Baker had also another year of team control. So 2026, Urias would have been in his last year of arbitration and would have been a free agent in 27.
So why do you think a low A prospect for a guy like Urias who does have team control?
Yeah, they got Twine Palmer. Twine. I mean, go ahead, make the joke. But a 20-year-old right-handed pitcher who was at Connors State College in Oklahoma.
There's a lot of good baseball players coming out of Oklahoma.
Yeah, in the 19th round.
The 19th round, next to last round last year.
Yeah. So he has a 2.13 ERA in A-ball, including 8 starts. He's punched out, more than 25% of the batters he's faced, but he's also issued 13%.
Another one of those.
Walks.
Okay,
another one of those guys. Now,
I saw an interesting stat about him though.
Okay.
There have been 175 plate appearances against him. Okay, he's thrown to 175 official plate appearances.
Right.
Only given up 3 doubles.
Okay. Well, I guess guys aren't.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. That is. Now, he was not in the Astros top 30 prospects in any trade magazine. So, to your question, I don't know why Ramon Urias would not garner maybe a higher prospect.
At least a double-A prospect.
To me, he was such a safety net for this ball team. I mean, he's
a Swiss Army knife. Is what he is.
And a good bat, a guy that does his job, and man, did he play a pretty third base.
Well, yeah, you saw it again just these last couple of days. He had one error, but he didn't grip the ball well when he threw it. But man,
I never dreamed he would be in this round of transition. But it turns out, I guess, they got something that they thought. I don't know.
It was his weakest. It was his weakest year at the plate. For a while, that might have had something to do with it.
Well,
I don't know.
The Astros had a real need because their regular third baseman pulled a hamstring to the point where it may need surgery.
We need to refer to the Southern Desk, and we need to talk to D about this. To Derek about this. Why does he think? Why does he think this trade was made? What does he see in this Twine Palmer? Maybe there's something we don't know about.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a really high ceiling on this guy.
An open-ended question for the information desk.
Let's ask him to fill us in a little bit.
Okay, we can do that. And then early this morning, the Cubs acquired Andrew Kittredge from the Birds. Again, another player with a team option next year. So the team that gets him gets that same option. So the Cubs send Wilfrey De La Cruz,
17-year-old.
Yeah, who signed an international signing bonus of $2.3 million. Yeah. So he was a
20th. He was 20th ranked prospect.
In the Cubs system. So 17-year-old switch hitter, 6'3", and some think that he's now a shortstop, that he'll transition to third base.
Another
eventually.
shortstop.
Yeah, but probably with the body type they're thinking.
What I saw written about him was they like his approach at the plate, that he's a patient hitter. He doesn't swing at balls outside of strike zone.
Well, that's important, especially for young hitters. I mean, that would be the equivalent stat to a pitcher not walking guys, at a young age.
And he's a switch hitter.
Yeah. So
9 doubles, 2 triples, 9 RBIs, 9 stolen bases, 26 walks, and 24 strikeouts. But of course, this is in the Dominican Summer League. This is not even the Florida Coast League. This is in the Dominican League.
You could make an argument though. The Dominican Republic is home to a lot of really good baseball.
Absolutely.
And a lot of major league talent. An inordinate amount of talent comes out of that little country.
Absolutely.
To the major leagues. Isn't that something?
Yeah. San Pedro de Macorís. How many times have you heard that?
Oh my! I can't even pronounce it.
Well, there you go.
I
cannot do it with the accent, however.
But do you make now? We've still got about an hour and a half or so till the actual deadline. I found it interesting as we get closer and closer. We've had the Andrew Kittredge move. Mm-hmm. We've had the Ramon Urias move. We've had the Brian Baker move. All guys with remaining team control. I'm sitting here thinking, does that put a guy like Ryan Mountcastle out there for a potential suitor?
It could.
You know, I've heard that the Boston Red Sox are really looking hard for a first baseman.
Well, that's where, I wouldn't hesitate to do that and then offer O'Hearn a contract. I wouldn't. It wouldn't hurt. To me, you go ahead and let Mountcastle move him on.
Right.
Get something for him, and then
now
and keep O'Hearn around. Right now, we're talking about O'Hearn's going to be out the door.
Right.
Well,
they don't have the left-handed bat option at first base. So we're going down the stretch. We're going to see a lot of Kobe Mayo.
Yes.
And I think Ryan Mountcastle will be coming off the injured list probably in the coming week.
You think Dylan Beavers will be up?
Absolutely. I think we're going to see the Dylan Beavers make his major league debut.
Cowser go to center. Beavers go to left.
I would guess. And we might see more Dylan Carlson maybe in center field, that sort of thing.
That's true.
So, it's hard to say how they're going to roll with that, but certainly the moves, especially the Urias move, makes room for a Jorge Mateo return. We haven't heard much about that recently because of his elbow injury again. But
to be fair, Mateo probably fills the spot of a utility infielder even better than Urias does. To tell you the truth.
Why do you think so?
Because a guy like Urias is a more complete player than Mateo.
Okay.
He's flexible. I mean, Urias can play anywhere.
Right.
But he's the kind of guy that probably demands more playing time than what Mateo does, just because of his ability to plate.
Okay.
You know.
Yeah.
So that's what I. Yeah. That's what you're going to wind up paying him more to keep him as a utility player because of his value.
Right.
Okay. It's possible they don't want to do that.
Yeah.
And they value Mateo or someone else or other plan. That's just my 2 cents, which probably isn't even worth that.
Well, no, I think it's noteworthy. Because all these things have to end up working together, and we've mentioned before how difficult a general manager's job would be to try and keep everything running at all your levels.
Oh,
and they're really if people felt like they needed pitching, they're addressing that here at the deadline. There's a lot of pitchers now. Good pitchers, we'll see.
Yeah, and forgive me if you already said this, but what about Basayo?
Oh, well, we will see.
We're going to see him.
We're going to see Big Sammy.
Yeah.
Sammy's coming to Baltimore.
Maybe at first base.
That's true.
See, that plays into the whole Mountcastle thing as well. What's
true.
that plan?
Right.
You got Mayo.
Yeah. If you can get a good deal for Mountie, you got to think he's vulnerable.
And it might be better for him as well as better for the team.
Could be. Can you imagine him in Fenway Park?
Oh, my goodness.
He'd go from
who needs a first baseman?
The Great Wall of Baltimore to the Green Monster. I mean, I think he'd like that. So I don't know. But because, he was one of the biggest complainers about the wall.
He's the kind of guy that could come back and just kill you.
Yeah. It wouldn't even be fun to watch, would it? Oh, well. I don't know, but that's where we're at here, and I suspect we're going to see a Ryan O'Hearn move.
I wish we wouldn't, but
I do too, but I read and I think I heard where he said that if he's got to move out of Baltimore, he'd like to do it somewhere to Texas because that's his home.
Yeah. And
the Rangers are really hot on him right now.
Well, we forget about that a little bit. When Burns, when Corbin Burns last year wanted to go, he wanted to go to Arizona.
Yeah.
And we forget that these guys have family. These guys have home.
That's right.
Even if you're making hundreds of millions of dollars, people want to be close to their family and close to home. And if O'Hearn, if that's a good place for him.
When his wife's expecting their first child, all of those things come into play.
He's a classy
here.
guy too.
Yeah, and I think the Orioles, if they can accommodate, I think they would. If it makes sense for the organization.
Right.
He's been a good guy, and they're decent people.
Well, they're responsible for resurrecting his career. He's responsible for resurrecting, but the Orioles gave him every opportunity to do that.
And he said he's given them so much credit for giving him a chance and all that.
Nice to end the show talking positively about a guy like that who's a good ball player and a good guy.
Because I'm fairly confident in the next hour or so we're going to see the headline. So just prepare yourself, Birdland. It's going to be an interesting second half, but you can find out what's going on if you tune us in right here. Every week, the Bird Brains. And I guess that's it.
Yeah, glad to have you along.
Yeah. Stop by again for the Bird Brains. I'm Jeff Baker.
I'm Dave Biesecker. Go O's.